Yeah, what's up guys? Inco here with a new build video. We hit 100 on here, so I figured it's time to get this out before we start making for a new build. This is our Discharge Gladiator. We're just doing the budget damnation strat, plenty, 8 mod. And we'll throw this in, show you guys some mapping. The idea of this build was to just be zooming through maps, and we do that through frostblink of wintry blast and Herald of Ice with scornful herald. So it's 100% crit and a bunch of generic scaling, so they pretty much just clear the map. You basically don't have to discharge at all unless there's like a boss or something, or you just want to use it. But I'll show you guys what it looks like. Oops, I don't have my AG on. Let me fix that. Okay. So yeah, this is pretty much mapping with it. Just dash through, you'll see the Herald of Ice's chain. It's very satisfying. You can use whatever Herald of Ice MTX you want. And we'll kind of just clear this map, and then I can show you guys maneuver pinnacle boss. But yeah, this is pretty much the mapping. I won't clear the whole map. But yeah, you can see the Herald of Ice chains. And if you want, you can discharge. We have like a 2-screen discharge. It's like 15 meters. So yeah, you can do that if you want. And it's very tanky. We have 94% block, 95 spell block. We have really good elusive effect, 14 charges. So very comfy level 100. And that was the idea of the build, just to blast some maps. I'll show like a you know what, let's do this. We'll do some cope. We'll see if we can drop the sword. Make some free money. I will swap in Conk Effect instead of cooldown recovery. Trinity I'll talk about just for a second here. It is very inconsistent on pinnacle bosses. I think it's because invert resistance and their base resistance. So first off, your first cast of Trinity is not going to have anything anyway, but it's very unlikely to fill all 3 bars of Trinity on your first cast. So I don't use it. It's very inconsistent, and that's the only thing I can figure. So to fill it, I would need like 3 casts on average, and it was just not worth it versus using like Elemental Pen, which is just what I use now. So Ball Lightning is how we get our charges. Ball Lightning Unleash on single target. So we'll wait for him to come down. Discharge is also one of those skills where you have a lot of variance. So we'll put our Assassin's Mark. You can kind of see the power charges on the side there. And that's when you pop it. Also your focus. So you can get some duds on this skill, because the rolls, the double damage, and the invert proc. Our invert is 59%. Oh, we killed the other one too fast, so we got to find the blue rose away now. So you can get some duds with the skill. I might be blind. Hold on. Wait, I have it on me. Never mind. I'm just dumb. So same idea. When you see the power charges max, you can cast. Phase them just like that. So you see, like, there's some duds there for sure. And that's just the way of Discharge. But when you hit those perfects, it feels so good. Same idea. And cast, and he's dead. And now surely we drop the sword? Surely. Okay, we did not drop the sword. Game is bugged. So, I'll also say, as far as the defenses outside of what I talked about, we are immune to all non-damaging ailments because we're using Purity of Elements. We are immune to Corrupted Blood from Jewel. We're immune to poison from the Nameless Bloodline. This one right here, unaffected by poison for the extra ring. We are immune to crits because we have 50% on our chest and tattoos to fill out the rest. We are unaffected by curses because our 2 jewels unaffected by curse and tattoos on the rest. So those do not affect us. Another thing I want to make clear before I swap over to POB is I do want to show the imbues on this stuff. because the gem is very socket starved. Initially, I did have a bigger Herald and stuff, you know, like with Enhance and Ice Bite, but the socket pressure is very tight, and I do like the Animate Guardian. The Animate Guardian is very strong because it gives us Sapped, it gives us 10 Fortify, it gives us 50 Crit Multi, it gives us Culling Strike, and it curses the enemies with Enfeeble, which is all very good for single target to boost our survivability and everything. And on top of that, the companionship gem, they take 15% of hit damage from their life before us, because they're the only minion, you know, all that bonus is there. So we have Unleash on Ball Lightning, and like I said, this is for generating charges on single target. We have Power Charge on Critical for Herald of Ice, self-explanatory, so we have good damage, and it kills everything in the maps. Chains, Herald of Ice Explosions, very pretty, we all love them. That's that. Wintry Blast, and here we go, another common theme. Imbued with Power Charge on Critical, obviously because we have 14, this is a lot of damage. Same idea with Discharge. And here we have level 1 more duration. Here we just have Assassin's Mark. You'll see like the socket pressure. And on Animate Guardian, we have level 1 Elemental Army, which is very important, which I can actually talk about that real quick while I swap over here to POB. So for Animate Guardian, I actually don't have that in here. Let me actually add that real quick. So the implicits, Exarch, Eater of Worlds. So what you want here, you want the sapped ground. That's very important, very good for us. And then the other one you want is the regen, which is increased regen rate to give him extra life regen. So this is the Animate Guardian's gear. It's kind of expensive. It's very rare he dies. I will say like 1 in 10 maps doing the damnation with all the Chaos Orb thingies and that. I think sometimes when I have like 4 altars with fizzes extra and some on the map and like extra proj, if I stand in there like a Papega, like if I'm reading an altar or something just because it doesn't really hit me or bother me, he can be taking a lot of hits that he can't regen through. But if you pay attention and get him out of this stuff, he's going to be more than fine. So, Kingmaker, obviously his weapon. This gives us 50 crit multi, 10 fortification, and Culling Strike. All very good. Massive Stitch Demon, this is how he gets so much regen in combination with a Foulborn Ghost Writ. So, you can find this with either, like this is 2 Divines. You could find these with either boosted from the Tailoring Orbs or with the Volatile Orbs. They're pretty cheap. This is a very good combo for keeping him alive. And then I choose Vixens for the additional curse with Enfeeble. That way we can still have our Assassin's Mark applied while he has Enfeeble on top of that. And then for our boots, we're looking for any resist fractured, whether it be lightning, fire, or cold and chaos hybrid. And then from there you fill out the other 2 resistances. It's important to know that also he gives us sapped ground here, which is very good. Oh, actually one more thing. Energy shield does not matter. Don't get energy shield on stuff you want in life, because this mod, your maximum energy shield is equal to 44% of your maximum life. Any modifications you get to energy shield or adding energy shield are not going to change his energy shield. You want life. That's how he gets more energy shield, because of this chest. So, Animate Guardian at base has 40% elemental resistances and 20 chaos res. So you want to make sure you fill out those to cap him. And also, our Imbue gem is Elemental Army 1, which gives 19% all res. So it's very easy to cap. Just make sure you do. So he's obviously surviving. And I think that's about everything for AG. It has the Culling Strike, and we have the Fortify included from him. Yeah, so obviously not in the POB. We don't have the Enfeeble on top. I'm not adding that for our defenses. Let me actually swap over to our gear. So this is our actual gear. Like I said, it's not configured to get the 15% of hit damage taken from the Animate Guardian before us. And also we don't have the Enfeeble being applied. Just because this is pretty much set up for like mapping and stuff. That's why we have, you know, Shattered an Enemy, which if you're bossing in that, that's not going to happen. That's from this mod. So We also have on Discharge, cooldown recovery, which is also when we're mapping. If you're bossing, you have Conk effect, your average hit goes up a lot more. And like I said, with Discharge, you have invert the rules, which is giving us 44% chance to invert. And on top of that, we have the mastery that gives us 15%. So we have 59% chance. So like I said, it feels like a gamba skill, like sometimes you'll hit duds, but then you'll just one-tap enemies other times. And our variance has to do with A, double damage, and B, the invert. As long as you cast them or curse them with Assassin's Mark, you do have 100% crit, so that's not really a variable as some builds it is. And so you're basically just praying the invert and the double damage, and that's when you get the crazy boost. I'm also not adding crazy shock effect or like, crazy presence in my duration, which obviously will keep boosting your damage more from the Gladiator Ascendancy, which is this node right here. 1% more damage with hits for each second, the Quinn 69 node. I'm not adding crazy shock effect, I just have it to 15. So, another thing, the Immortal Call is what I want to talk about. So, we have a cast on Ward Break, and important for this, you want to use Runic Gloves. So, why do we want Runic Gloves? When we actually do get hit, that's going to break a ward. Ward is restored every 2 seconds. So when that ward gets broken from those, that is what casts our Immortal Call. And we have a cooldown recovery, and this is imbued with more duration. So Runegraft of the Warp does not work in PoB, which makes it expire 30% slower. So if you look at Immortal Call, it's showing like a 62.5%. But realistically, between our block, the Runegraft actually being applied to this, so it has more uptime, and our ward being restored every 2 seconds, when you actually do get hit and you don't block something, 99% of the chance, or 99% of the time, you're going to be able to proc your Immortal Call then. So normally I wouldn't have this applied, but realistically, because we don't really get hit that often, I do have this applied in the PoB, but if you want to see it like without it, this is what you're looking at without Immortal Call. Do be mindful, this does remove 5 charges, which you get back like instantly, especially in mapping, or with your ball lightning of orbiting. They will also come back very fast. So that's why I do still just have this on, because realistically, when you do get hit, like we have 94% at block, 95% spell block. When you do get hit, there is a very, 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 very likely chance that you're going to be ready to cast Immortal Call. So, for the frostblink of Wintry Blast, I will talk about I've tried Spell Echo, Greater Spell Echo. Greater Spell Echo feels terrible, I'm not going to lie. Especially if you get any speed shrine in a map like Echoing or Acceleration, it's just too fast. Faster casting is like a good balance that I find, so I use that. If you do get extra cast speed elsewhere or like on your rings, you would definitely opt for like a damage support. You could do an invert here, elemental pen, whatever. It's not really necessary. You're still just one-shotting everything because we have so much generic damage scaling. So I personally stick with faster casting. This way, if we do get an Echoing Shrine or an Acceleration Shrine, from like a small one or just in a map if I'm running something else, it doesn't feel so terrible and like you can't control it. So I found this a good balance, just using a faster casting with that. And obviously our Herald, we have 100% crit on that, Scornful Herald. 2.7 meter radius, very respectable. This is how we're basically chain exploding the map, clearing everything with just frost blinking around. Basically don't have to touch Discharge. Discharge is just our like nuke button, or if you're actually doing pinnacle bosses, that's pretty much the only place that you use it. Now, as far as our hubris, this one is a 4 damage mod. I bought this for 100 divines, so not cheap. You're ideally looking for as many damage per X charge as possible. And outside of that, other good options are mana reservation, crit strike multiplier, and spell damage. Do be mindful, all spell damage stuff, it's still good, obviously, because your Wintry Blast and your Discharge. But since we do want to scale Herald of Ice, spell damage stuff does not apply to Herald of Ice. If you see at the end line there, this damage is not affected by modifiers of spell damage. That's why if you look at our jewels, none of them have crit multi with spell damage. It's either global, outside of the obviously fracture one, it's either global crit multi, or else crit multi with cold skills, obviously any work with Discharge. But again, we're really focused on that Herald of Ice and Wintry Blast, so we basically just teleport, zoom around the map, don't have to care about anything, and that's what makes it really comfy. Our clusters are very important. Obviously, this one is super easy to make. This is just, you can buy, it doesn't matter. Mage Hunter and Conjured Wall, giving a spell block. This one, you have to get Fractured Riot Queller, which is a rare mod, but you can buy them just like 10D, and then swap it over to Elemental Damage, and then you're looking for Prismatic Heart, Widespread Destruction. These are the two mods you're taking, and the other clusters you guys will obviously be able to see in the POB. You can swap this around and get Reservation in other places, or like the Helmet, but that's very expensive. Outside of that, we're basically scaling crit, double damage, area nodes, and on our Megalomaniac, this is important. This helps us cap crit, because otherwise you have to use that, I don't even know what it's called, that Mickey Mouse looking jewel. Let's see. Yeah, Reckless Defense. You have to use this, and which this is fine because we're crit immune, so this does not matter. So you could save there and use them. You just need to make sure that you cap your block and spell block. Also be mindful, Conjured Wall is when you've cast a spell recently, so if you're just sitting in hideout, you need to cast a spell to actually look at your spell block, or just look in POB. Since we're always casting a spell, whether that be Discharge or Frostblink or any of that stuff, that's always up. So here we have Vicious Guard and Mage Hunter. Vicious Guard is important in order to sustain RF with our belt, which also has replenishing. So if you don't have a Vicious Guard Megalomaniac, or you're not using a Megalo at all and just using another jewel with the Mickey Mouse looking one, Reckless Defense, you can not path down here for this life node and path down here to this life node and take more regen. You can see I used to have this instead until I got my Megalo. Unfortunately, there's like no good 3 mod with, some combo of this variation. But you're basically just looking for you can also get hybrid block nodes. So there's ones that have 4% spell block and 4% attack block in combination. There is none with a good damage node that existed. So this is pretty much just a 2 node. We are also Eldritch Battery. So we do have replenishing on our belt, like I said. So we do regenerate a lot of mana, but it doesn't really matter. I could probably actually remove that now that I think about it, but I still just have it. So yeah, I think that covers pretty much everything. This build is very comfy, very easy to get to 100. I'm definitely looking forward to the next build. It's going to be a perma-vol skill, so trying to think if I missed anything. Yeah. And obviously another thing I want to mention, Slayer, you can get a ton more damage and take more than skill, but when I started this build, more than skill combo is like 500 divines, and I know there's obviously expensive stuff in here, like I have 2 power charge rings, right? And the hubris, like that eats the majority of the cost. That's pretty much where all the cost is. I didn't want to pay that, so I just opted to go Gladiator and take Masterful Form because this combo was like 4 divines. But yeah, if you do want to min-max it, you're definitely looking, taking these nodes, taking that combo, and then you take more than skill as your Forbidden Flame and Flesh. But this was a very comfy 100. You can still boss on it and everything. I think it's a very good build. Obviously, any build you can try to compare to like Minion Pack and stuff right now, it's just going to look like nothing. But, do remember Minion Pack's definitely getting deleted next league. So yeah, that does it for this build. If you guys have any questions or anything, let me know. Till the next one, take care.